This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by Jack Threads.
Coming up on Destructoid, we've got some news about God of War, and then something else about Max Payne, and then a bunch of stuff about indie games. All this and more coming up on Destructoid.
Welcome everyone to Destructoid. I'm Tara Long.
And I'm Max Scoville. Happy Wednesday, Tara.
Thank you, Max. I'm usually the one to say that, but I appreciate the sentiment.
It's a good day. There's some fucking sunshine outside. It's great.
There is. It's hot, actually, in San Francisco today, which is unusual.
Yeah. Well, we've got a great show up ahead for you all to watch with your eyeballs. But first, Marcus D, one of our watchers and a proud 3DS owner, was kind enough to send us some homemade Max and Tara me's.
Yeah, he knows that we weren't cool enough to get 3DSs on launch day.
So now you can capture us with your little Game Boy thing with the codes,
there's actually a QR code
the barcodes. We'll put links to that, the info for all the various places you might be watching this, and you can. I don't even know what you do with the me's. You can probably torture them. Yeah.
Probably disgusting sexual things.
Remove their clothes slowly.
No. Oh, that'd be awful.
Yeah.
Okay, first order of business on the show. Ian Pond, are you out there somewhere? I know you are. You're a fan of the show, and he asked us to do a little mini review of the new Mass Effect DLC Arrival that arrived this week. While I would like to honor his wishes, I unfortunately do not own Mass Effect 2 and thus cannot provide a personal review for the DLC. I'm sorry, Ian. However, I will say that Destructoid editor Maurice Tan reviewed the DLC on the website yesterday and gave it an 8.5 out of 10, saying that the combat is as good as the previous Overlord DLC and the storyline is more impactful on the Mass Effect universe. So if you want to read the detailed review, you can check out Destructoid.com, or you can wait until Friday's show when Jim does a review roundup, hopefully, and probably inevitably says something to piss all of you off.
Yeah.
I still love you, Jim.
He's great, but I mean, he gets so many people yelling at us.
No.
So speaking of yelling at things, we at Destructoid talk a lot of shit about Zynga because they like to target the casual market for people like your mother and Tara. The company got burned pretty badly a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, when SF Weekly published an article about their business practices, which at best seemed pretty ruthless and at very worst seemed just downright evil. CEO Mark Pincus was actually quoted saying, "We don't fucking want innovation," which is sort of hard to explain in a reasonable way with that, unless he was like, I don't know, he was ordering lunch and someone was like, "You should try that new California fusion restaurant." He was like, "I want a fucking hamburger, I don't want innovation," you know?
What the fuck is California fusion anyway?
I don't know, like ahi tartar or whatever.
It's just a nice way of saying expensive.
Weird shit, teriyaki burritos. Anyway, this is old news. Lately, it seems like Zynga's actually pushing to get some key players on board. Back in January, Zynga bought the guys who developed Drop 7, which was only really reported on by Destructoid because our editor Nick really likes that game. But they bought those guys up. They didn't just steal their game idea, which is a step in the right direction for them. And earlier this month, they actually hired industry veteran Luke Castle. Luke co-founded Westwood Games back in 1985. That was the company that made Command & Conquer, which is a good game. And then just today it was announced that Kenji Mutsubara, the former boss of Tecmo Koei, has stepped down from there and has taken the position of CEO of Zynga Japan. So I don't know if Zynga is suddenly making an attempt to ditch the moms and appeal to like the hardcore guys, but it sounds like they're trying to make more serious games, which is just kind of cool.
Yeah.
I've actually got a handful of friends who just started work at Zynga, and they're not the kind of guys who are going to bullshit me. I'm not going to blow their covers or anything, but they seem to be pretty happy with what they're doing, and they seem like they're enjoying it. They can't talk about it, but I mean, I'm not like an analyst or anything. I don't know how companies work, but if I had to guess, it seems like Zynga kind of was cutthroat and ruthless at the beginning and really just made a lot of Farmville money really fast, and it sounds like now they're actually putting that into making games that aren't just like, crap that you would play.
I mean, they've already carved out a pretty big niche for themselves in the industry, so it kind of makes sense that they would push forward in a new direction just to capture more people. I personally have played a few Zynga games. I've never played Farmville. I played Cityville, actually got up to level 56 in it, if you can believe that or not.
Shameful woman.
I know the games, I will say this much, they have an impeccable business model. However, their games, they don't have all that much replay value once you get to the end, because you reach a point where you start having to interact with your friends solely. Like, ask your friends for more, things to build your city hall or whatever, and it's like, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to stop playing. Like, that's the reason I stopped playing, because it stopped becoming fun and started becoming a chore.
I borrow stuff from my friends in real life, and that annoys them enough.
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
Start doing it on Facebook,
exactly.
You know?
It's worse on Facebook.
Hey, can I borrow a beer? And they're like, no. And I'm like,
yeah.
It's for sick. Cityville.
Okay, moving on from Zynga. You guys are fan of the Gods of War. You guys are fans of the God of War series, right? I will admit, not my particular cup of tea, just personal preference. However, the franchise has done well enough and will continue to do well and expand, starting with the addition of a multiplayer option. They haven't officially declared it yet, but Sony's Santa Monica office, the developers behind the series, put a job posting up on Gamasutra's job board's website recently looking for a senior online programmer to join their God of War team. They say they're looking for someone with the know-how to support in-game communication, client-server, matchmaking, and leaderboards. Sounds pretty multiplayer to me. Can't say I blame him. As Conrad pointed out in his article on Destructoid.com when he covered the story, it is hard to create a mainstream game these days without offering players a multiplayer option. I don't want to spend $50, on a game and then realize it has little to no replay value.
Replay value or online.
Yeah, I'm not the type of person who really enjoys replaying single-player games either. It's just once I'm done with it, I'm done with it. But that's that.
Well, that is that. And hey, speaking of God of War, let's talk about indie games. Our very own Jonathan Holmes managed to get an exclusive scoop on Fez. We mentioned Fez a while back and how it looks awesome. It looks sort of like they took the 2D, 3D shifting effect from Paper Mario and turned it way up to 11. While he was at PAX East, Holmesy spoke with Fez's creator Phil Fish about the possibility of the game being on other platforms, and here's what Phil had to say. Right now, we're only concentrating on XBLA, which makes the most sense for us at the time. PC and PSN would also make a lot of sense, but in my opinion, WiiWare just wouldn't be worth our time and effort. It's a dismal system that I don't want to deal with, neither as a customer nor a developer. No demos? Fuck off.
Use the word neither incorrectly.
Shut up. I really love indie developers. Like, I love the flack that the Wii takes for catering to little kids. You think they could maybe they could totally corner the indie market by having homebrewed stuff on there. I mean, the Wii is not like a graphics powerhouse. It does not have online play. The online options in there suck ass. Like, it's not going to win over hardcore gamers. And there's a lot of little kids out there who have it. And I don't know. I think it'd be a good home for kind of 8-bit pixely games.
I agree.
But Nintendo of America President Reggie Fils-Aime recently talked to Gamasutra and commented on Nintendo's stance on independent and homemade games. And here's the most incriminating quote I could find. Where we've drawn the line is we are not looking to do business today with the garage developer. In our view, that's not a business we want to pursue. And he then made a comparison between amateur musicians who have day jobs and indie developers. I think the idea is that he thinks that the idea of small companies like garage developers like Rovio in the early days, or guys who make games out of their garages. He apparently doesn't really want to support that. He's concerned that companies selling games for too cheap or releasing them for free will devalue games, which is really stupid. I guess he's afraid that if someone's giving away a game for $1 or free or whatever, that they're not going to go out and spend money on Mario.
That's not true.
No, it's not. And actually, Rovio, the guys who are trying to ride the Angry Birds wave, they recently commented saying that Nintendo makes $49 pieces of plastic, which is kind of a cocky reaction there. I don't really. The whole argument, it's like watching like a crotchety old man talk to a really petulant teenager. Nintendo should have indie games and Rovio should shut the fuck up. It's that simple. Anyway, moving on.
Yes, not always good news.
Nope, not always good news. That's why they call me Max Payne, because I bring the pain.
Nobody's ever called you that.
Yeah, well, when they do call me that, it's because it's my nick. We got new Max Payne 3 screenshots. 2 of them. The first one, check this out. We see a guy, right? He's a guy, and he's got a gun, and he's got some sort of a headset on, and he's got a bandage. It's very hard to tell though because it's dark, and he could also be holding like a cell phone or a wallet. I'm not really sure. And the second one, which is also very dark, we see a bald man, and he's got a Hawaiian shirt on, and he's also has guns, and he appears to be standing next to something, though I'm not really sure what it is. So still no release date for Max Payne 3, other than sometime in 2011, possibly second quarter, but something tells me we might have to wait a little longer until they install lighting into the game, maybe get rid of the Hawaiian shirts,
Instead of showing screenshots from now on, we should just describe the screenshots.
Yeah. What we're looking at right now.
Okay, so while we're on the subject of learning how to dress yourself, how about a word from our sponsor?
Indubitably. So unless you're a foppish dandy of a coxcomb like myself, you're probably not too stoked on shopping for clothes. In clothing stores, the music's always too loud, the sales clerks are always rude, and if you're not careful, you might wander into the women's petite section accidentally, and that's just really embarrassing. But thanks to Jack Threads, those days are over. Jack Threads is a members-only online shopping club that does the legwork for you and saves you a big pile of money in the process. Each day, Jack Threads shows off the absolute choicest and most radical brands at up to 80% off what you'd pay in a store. And we're talking about brands like Kid Robot, The Hundreds, and American Apparel for cheaper than you'll find them anywhere else. Jack Threads is a private club, only for the most elegant and classy of individuals, but since you're a Destructoid viewer, we'll hook you up. So head over to jackthreads.com/destruct and you can join up for free without any waiting around. It's free to sign up and you don't even have to put pants on to go do it, so go check it out. That's
lovely. People can dress like you, Max. Where's your flock of seagulls haircut today?
I'm actually still waiting to be accepted by Jack Threads.
Okay. The time has come, the walrus said, for our very first ever show and tell segment. Oh, I'm so excited about this.
Show and tell.
Yes. As you guys know, I talked about this a week ago. This is something that I feel super strongly about as a fan of indie games as well as mainstream games. And today I want to talk about a game called Beetlenut, which is actually the game that inspired this segment. And I'll tell you a little bit about why later. Just to start off, it was developed by Necrophone Games, which is just a small studio of two guys, Luis Hernandez, who works on the artistic and musical side of things, and Jess Browse, hope I'm pronouncing that okay, he's the programmer. Since they kindly asked me not to share their pictures with you, even though they're actually both quite handsome, instead I have drawn what I consider to be an extremely accurate portrait. Moving on, this game was forged from the developer's desire to see better and more original games on Android. I have spoken countless times on this topic about how there are just shitty games for Android. There's not much good out there. It's all about the iPhone and the App Store. You know, Max, you just got an Android phone,
Just got
an
Android phone. Very excited for Beetlenut.
Yes.
I played it on the computer. It's fun.
It is fun. It is fun. It's got a very retro look to it, which Luis says was inspired by all of the old 16-bit Apogee shareware titles that he played as a kid. Stuff like Monster Bash, Halloween Harry, Biomenace, and Blake Stone, all beyond my time. As for the game itself, the developers say it took a lot of inspiration from older titles like the original GTA, Carmageddon 2, Carpocalypse Now. Games just aren't titled the same way anymore. And Movie Monster, which is an old Commodore 64 game that is damn near impossible to find clips of on YouTube, as I learned last night. And for the record, that game came out when I was 1 year old, so holy shit. These guys know what they're talking about. On top of all of that, all of the music for the game was composed using an original DMG-1 Game Boy running Nano Loop, so fans of chiptunes will be happy to know that. Bloop, bloop. Bloop, bloop. Like that. About the actual game, basically it's a top-down game and it's 2D. You're a giant beetle who goes around terrorizing a city of unsuspecting victims who you can eat to gain points. And then there's meteorites scattered around the city that you have to get, and then when you find them, you transform into a giant beetle with mandibles made of fire. Okay, maybe not fire, but still, it'll like destroy planes and shit. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty simple game, which is how I like my mobile games anyway. It's just good mindless fun. You can go to the website and play it for free at beetlenaut.com. That's BEETLENAUT. We'll have a link up there. And there's a link to the game on the Android market there. So if you like the game and you want to support an indie developer, then you should buy it. It is $2.97 and it'll be coming to iPhone soon. Right now it's only for Android. But yeah, the developers are working on porting it to iPhone right now. Great game, honestly. I'm so happy to be talking about it. And actually, the developers were nice enough to give us one free copy to give away to you guys, our fans. So all you have to do is follow Beetlenut on Twitter. We'll have the little link up there. And they will randomly pick one of you guys to win a free copy of it. So that's awesome, right?
It's a cool game. It reminds me of like old Japanese monster movies, but like as a top-down game. It's just it's got this kind of like awkward motion to it that's like the digital equivalent of a guy in a suit. It's really ridiculous.
It's great.
It's neat.
It's great. So that wraps up our first show and tell segment. I hear Max has some more exciting news
pretty exciting news for you guys. You remember that shirt that I showed off a while back, the official Destructoid Squid Bear t-shirt? Well, it's now available on splitreason.com, and it's $18.95 plus shipping, and it's available in sizes from small to XXL. and we got it made on this like black shirts, and it used this crazy space age process where they don't actually print it on it with ink. They suck the ink out of the shirt itself. And this is ironic because the squid bear is actually known for ruining clothing with ink when it's upset. I read that in a book.
You've never read a book before, Max.
I made it up completely. But yeah, I designed the shirt myself, so go buy one and maybe I can like pay my rent this month. Yeah.
Also spread the word, you know?
Yeah. You should follow both of us on Twitter because we post weird little things that we do, like shirts we make or indie, whatever you said. I don't care.
Indie games.
And one last reminder, I'm still giving away this copy of Bust a Move Universe. We've got until, let's say Monday morning, I don't care. And the thing is, you've got to go to revision3.com/Destructoid, and you need to comment your best dinosaur joke. It has to be on Revision 3. I'm not giving it away to YouTube. No. We're trying to try out a new thing here. So,
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you guys got to pay attention.
The whole purpose of us making that contest was to, well, give away that, but also to make people aware of our Revision 3 commenting system.
Bust a move over to Revision 3 and leave a comment.
Do it.
Do it.
In the meantime, we'll see you guys on Friday.
Take it easy.
You want to see me shotgun this water? Like a boss.